Who's your God? Where did you come from? Where were you born? And would you believe this if you were born in some place that didn't have the word of the Lord?
This might be cliffeknechtle most intense campus debate yet. Watch as Cliffe takes on this intelligent student that asks questions around morality. Who is your God? Where were you born? Where did you come from? Where did you get your morality from? Make sure to stick to the end because Cliffe's response will shock you. Do not forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Now, enjoy the video.
You're infringing upon my rights to think.
Okay, why is that wrong?
Why is that wrong?
Why is it wrong for me to infringe upon your rights? Where do your rights come from? Who defines right and wrong?
Well, as of right now, the government.
I disagree. Dr. Martin Luther King wrote a letter from a Birmingham jail. And in this letter, Dr. Martin Luther King writes, there is a law above the law of the great state of Alabama. And according to this law, the laws of the great state of Alabama when it comes to segregation are wrong. Dr. Martin Luther King's whole basis for his argument is there is a law of God that transcends the law of culture, the law of the great state of Alabama. And that is why I am here in Birmingham to stand against segregation.
Right. And that was a wonderful thing. And I mean, it's a very upstanding principle that he stole from someone else. But that's not the point.
He didn't steal it from anybody else.
Okay.
He had a genuine faith in Christ that was expressed in his understanding that racism is absolutely evil because it's a denigration of a human being created in the image of God.
You're inflicting, that is exactly what I'm saying. You're inflicting upon someone else's right. That's not saying, God did not say that. People said that. People believe that.
No, sir. The people of the great state of Alabama believed that black folks are inferior to white folks. That's why the laws on the books stated it.
The white people that made the laws in Alabama.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That's right. And so Dr. Martin Luther King, because of his faith in Jesus Christ, because of his understanding that there's a God who precedes the human mind, who has created and defined human worth, human value, and the value of justice, Dr. Martin Luther King said, your laws, state of Alabama, are unjust. It's the only way you can logically critique the laws of culture. You can't do it as a moral relativist. Because if you're a moral relativist, everything's relative. God is a feeling that I have. He's a power. Fine, if that's true. If God is a feeling that I have, then if my God is a white God who asserts white supremacy,
and that's exactly how they used to, that's exactly how they believed.
And they're wrong.
And that's part of your Christian faith.
No. What's part of your faith is they're not wrong. They're relative, which means they're right for themselves. As a follower of Christ, I look those racists in the face and I say, you are wrong. 100% wrong. Because God created all people and God don't make junk. That's why you're wrong. But you, sir, have no basis to tell the racist that he's wrong.
People can believe what they want. Those racist people, they could believe what they want, but once they inflicted themselves upon and limited someone else's rights, which they did, these racist people inflicted themselves upon someone else, that is where they're wrong. And that is exactly what I've been saying the entire time.
And what I'm saying to you is you can't say they're wrong in an objective, absolute sense, because you're a relativist, remember? And if you're going to be consistent and not be an intellectual hypocrite, you got to stick with what you believe. So if you tell me that everything's relative, that God is relative, I just have my own feelings, and therefore God is whatever I feel, which means God is just a relative, subjective experience, then obviously morality is totally relative. You cannot look at the white racist and say, you're wrong. What you can say is, from my perspective, from my subjective opinion, I disagree, but you're right for yourself, I'm right for myself. There's no such thing as objectively wrong. Because, sir, remember, reality for you is subjective. It's all relative. So just live out what you tell me you believe.
I am. You believe in the subjective value of Christianity. You take the Bible, taking just your example of the Bible, you take parts of it and you go, hey, this I'm going to believe at face value because this is the exact word of the Lord. And then later on you go, this was just a moral example of what could have happened or what somebody could have believed. There's not, you can't argue a morality, you can't argue morality objectively in general. You can't. There is no way to say what is wrong to some person is right to another. Like you just can't.
Sir, if there's a God, then it's possible that there is an objective value of justice, created and defined by God. If there is no God, there is no objective value of justice. It's all relative. Sir, it's that simple. Do you follow that?
Yes, but who's your God? Who's your God? Where did you come from? Where were you born? And would you believe this if you were born in some place that didn't have the word of the Lord?
What?
Where would you get your morality then? Where would your morality come from?
My conscience and my rational mind
yes, your conscience
informs me
yes, your conscience.
that there are objective morals. Now, in light of the fact that my conscience informs me that there are objective morals, I better ask myself, which worldview, which faith squares with reality? Atheism? Relativism? No, that does not square with my conscience. Theism, belief that there's got to be some type of God who has given me a conscience and has created objective morals. That squares with my experience of reality.
And that is the exact place where we will never agree, because I believe conscience comes from within, and you believe it'll come from God. And
Okay.
I'm tired of
all I've asked you to do is just live it out. Just remember, the guy who date rapes has not done something objectively wrong, because your worldview is relativism.
He just inflicted upon somebody else's rights. That is...
It's relative, man. Just be consistent.
Comes from your conscience.
Which is totally relative and subjective.
True.
Okay? The Nazis, not wrong. The Bosnian Serb who rapes and murders women, not wrong in an objective sense. The KKK who teach their children to be racist, not wrong. It's their own subjective, relative take on morality. That's your worldview.
I just said that there's no objective sense. You cannot objectively define morals.
Exactly. So just live it out. Don't you dare look into the face of the KKK and tell them what you're doing is absolutely wrong. Look at the face of the KKK and say, it's all relative. Now, from my experience, it's not good. I'm not going to do it. But your experience is different. So I've got my views. You've got your views. You're not wrong. I'm not right. It's all relative. Just live that out. See if it works.
I'm living that out.
No, you're not.
And
No, I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
Because if you were living it out, you wouldn't be upset with my view of homosexuality. If you're really living out your view, you'd say
your Christian
cool.
values are inflicting upon somebody else's.
No, I'm not inflicting anything on you.
You are blocking homosexuality's right to marriage, to a way of being together in your sense of morality, in the way that your God has decided that this is how people procreate, or this is how people have sex.
That is total falsehood. I have not prevented you from having homosexual sex. You do not need my permission to go out and have homosexual sex. You can do that quite on your own, and if anybody tries to physically stop you, I will disagree with them, okay? Because I live in a democracy, because I live in a free society, if the law of the land says you can do what you want to privately in your home, if you want to have homosexual sex, I support your right to do that. So don't stereotype me, because that's very narrow-minded and very intolerant of you. I support your right to have sex with a man, with a woman, with an animal, whatever you choose to.
Just your God does not.
I'm going to warn you, I'm going to stand here and tell you that watch out. If you have sex outside of the context of a monogamous heterosexual relationship, you're violating the purpose for which God gave you your sexuality. Sure, I'll tell you that.
I'm done. So thank you.
All right, man. Take care.